You listen to a podcast for 2 weeks straight, and suddenly you're understanding native speakers way better. But nobody talks about why that actually happens.
I'm Claire, and I didn't actually realize how much I was learning until I started trying to have conversations with people. Suddenly, everything clicked differently.
And I'm David. Like, your brain gets exposed to real rhythm, real speed, real accent variations. Not a textbook, not some slow teacher voice. Actual humans talking the way they actually talk.
Because listening is so different from speaking or reading. Your brain has to hold information that's disappearing in real time. There's no pause button, no going back.
But I think people don't realize listening is different from reading. When you read, you can pause. You can look up a word. Your brain moves at your pace. But with listening, you have to keep up.
And I think that's what makes it so powerful. You're not just learning English. You're learning how to process English at normal speed with all the messiness that comes with it.
And that's where the magic happens, right? Your brain adapts. It starts recognizing patterns. It stops trying to translate every single word and actually just understands the meaning.
Like, native speakers don't speak like they're in a language app. They connect words together. They drop sounds. They go off on tangents. They're real. And if you only study textbook English, you're completely unprepared for that.
But here's what I'm wondering. Do you think it matters what kind of podcast you're listening to? Like, does it have to be about English? Or can it be anything you're interested in?
So, when you listen to actual podcasts, people just talking about things they care about, your brain is basically learning from the real thing, not a simulation of the real thing.
Because honestly, I listened to this podcast about philosophy for like 3 months. Didn't even think about the English part. Just wanted to hear what they had to say.
And the other thing is that it builds your ear in ways nothing else really does. You start hearing where sentence boundaries are. You start noticing stress and intonation. You're learning the music of English without anyone having to explain it.
And your ear starts picking things up without you even trying. You hear how they connect ideas. You notice the way they use phrases naturally, not like they're reading from a script.
Exactly. And once your ear picks that up, listening becomes easier because you're not just hearing individual words. You're hearing chunks, phrases, the way ideas actually fit together.
That's the thing, though. When you're actually interested in what someone's saying, your brain doesn't feel like it's working. You're just listening. And that's when learning actually sticks.
I noticed that with myself. I went from trying to catch every single word to just understanding the general flow and getting the meaning. It's like your brain shifts modes.
Plus, you get this consistency thing that you don't get with other methods. You can listen while you're commuting, working out, doing dishes. Your brain's getting English input constantly.
And there's so much content out there. Like, whatever you're interested in, there's a podcast about it. So you're not forcing yourself to listen to boring material just for the sake of learning.
I used to think I needed like an hour-long study session to make progress. But then I realized 15 minutes a day, every single day, actually compounds way faster.
Right? That's the thing I tell people. If you hate true crime, don't listen to a true crime podcast just because it's popular. Find something that actually excites you. Your brain remembers things way better that way.
So what actually changed for you? Like, what was the first thing you noticed getting easier when you started listening regularly?
Because motivation is like half the battle. If you're forcing yourself to listen to something boring, you'll quit. But if you're genuinely curious about what someone has to say, you'll keep going.
Because I remember the moment for me. I was listening to a news podcast and a host made a joke. I got it instantly. No mental translation. Just laughed. That blew my mind.
So that's the first thing you notice getting easier, like understanding jokes or getting the tone of what people are saying.
Your brain starts recognizing humor, tone, context. All the stuff that makes English feel alive instead of just a list of rules to memorize.
It's actually everything, but like specifically conversations feel less stressful because you've heard so many examples of how people talk that your brain just knows what to expect.
And honestly, I think that's why podcasts work better than a lot of expensive apps or courses. You're learning from real people, having real conversations about stuff they actually care about.
You're picking up on cultural context too, like why people say certain things, what's considered polite, what's casual. That stuff doesn't come from textbooks. It comes from listening to how people actually communicate.
Your confidence with English comes from exposure. And podcasts give you that exposure in this natural kind of invisible way. You're not sitting there drilling vocabulary. You're just absorbing it.
And your vocabulary grows without you even realizing it. You hear words in context, hear them used naturally, and your brain just absorbs them way better than from a word list.
I think the biggest thing people miss is that consistency beats intensity every single time. 1 hour a week gets you nowhere. 15 minutes every day for a month? That changes everything.
Plus, you're learning slang and modern language. Not the English from like 20 years ago. The English people actually use right now. That matters.
So, if someone wanted to start this, just commit to listening to podcasts every day, what would you tell them about how to actually make it stick?
I think the consistency thing is huge. Even if you just do 20 minutes a day, that's so much more valuable than one big study session a week. Your brain's getting constant input.
Pick something you actually want to hear about, not what you think you should listen to. Your brain will thank you for it.
So, if someone wanted to start, what would you actually recommend? Like, how do you pick your first podcast?
And maybe grab a notebook. Just jot down words or phrases that pop out at you. Nothing formal, just something to anchor them in your brain a little bit more.
Just go with your gut. What topics do you think about when you have free time? What would you actually talk about with friends? Start there.
The other thing is, listen to the same podcasts or shows for a bit. Your brain recognizes voices, gets used to accents, starts anticipating what's coming next. It's like training wheels that gradually come off.
And don't worry about whether it's hard enough or easy enough. Your ear will adjust. What feels impossible the first week starts feeling normal in like 2 weeks.
And here's the honest part. You're going to miss stuff at first. You're going to zone out. You're going to hear a whole sentence and have no idea what just happened. That's completely normal.
The other thing is, you don't have to understand everything. Missing some stuff is actually healthy. It keeps your brain engaged because it's always working a little bit to fill in gaps.
But 2 weeks in, you'll notice you're catching more. 4 weeks in, you're anticipating words. By 3 months, conversations start feeling way less terrifying.
And honestly, that's where growth happens. When things are a little bit challenging but not impossible. That's the sweet spot.
There's also something about your confidence. When you listen every day, you realize native speakers aren't this mysterious thing. They mumble. They repeat themselves. They say like and constantly.
I also think listening to the same podcast over and over is like criminally underrated. Your brain recognizes the patterns. You stop missing so much.
It humanizes English, makes it feel less like this perfect language you have to get right, and more like just a way people talk.
Like, first listen, you're confused. Second listen, you're catching way more. And that confidence boost is huge. You realize your brain is actually learning.
And if you really want to accelerate it, listen to the same episode twice. First time, just listen for pleasure. Second time, really pay attention to how they're saying things.
And there's something about hearing the same host's voice over and over. You get used to their accent, their speech patterns, the way they structure ideas. It becomes familiar.
But honestly, the main thing is just starting. Like right now, pick a podcast about literally anything that doesn't bore you and commit to tomorrow.
That familiarity is like a shortcut to understanding. Your brain doesn't have to work as hard to process new voices and new accents all the time.
Because here's what nobody tells you. Your English doesn't improve because you study harder. It improves because you live with it. You breathe it. You let it just become part of your day.
So, basically, just start tomorrow, pick something you like, and actually commit to listening every day.
And podcasts might be the easiest way to actually do that without it feeling like work.
Yeah, and be patient with yourself. You're not going to be fluent in a week, but 3 months of consistent listening, that's real progress. That's noticeable.
If you want more conversations like this about actually learning English the way real people talk, you should stick around. We drop new episodes all the time, and honestly, it's where the real conversations happen.
And if you want to keep diving into this with us, how to actually make listening stick, what kinds of podcasts work best for different levels, all of that, we've got a lot more coming. This is really where the good stuff happens. See you in the next episode.